What's up, everybody? Odyssey64 here, back with another episode of, well, Miitopia, but in this one we are going to be doing something that I've been teasing for a while now that I'm finally glad to do now that I have completed the game, and that is the Miitopia job tier list. And as we all know, in the land of Miitopia, there are 10 classes you can choose from, 2 of which that you unlock in post-game, and of course, some classes are better than others. So that's what we're going to be tackling today. We have all the way here in the top spot over here, we have best class, over to great, good only if the player uses it, it's okay, and then utter garbage, don't at me. And that's only reserved for one class. So if you guys are excited for this extremely opinionated video, but it's also kind of based off of fact of how the game works and stuff like that, and also my advice for which personalities to use with these classes, definitely make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Even though we did just finish Miitopia, there will be other content coming out as well. And I thought it'd be fun to do this at the very end of the game. And with that being said, let's get on to the first class on the list. Alright, so the first class here we have on the chef. I am going to put it in great tier because it is good for healing. It's also a physical attacker, so if it's going to chain with your other teammates, that's going to do a lot. Flambe is really good as well for extra damage, and also it has an insta-kill move, so what can I say, that's a good class. The best personality, I would say, for the chef is probably cautious. Because you want them to prepare first, if before they do a feast, or if they're going to do flambe for more damage and stuff like that. But laid back is a good thing for this class because it will allow them to heal more, whether they do feast, pro maestro cooking, whatever. Alright, so the next class on here is the Imp, and I am going to put it, I'm gonna say, it's kind of hard between good only if the player uses it, or it's okay, because it's really bad at the start, but I hear it gets really good towards the end, but it also has a bunch of status things that you can do, like, it also has a one-hit KO move, which is good, with, Demonic Whispers, where Sweet Whispers can, like, drop the enemy's guard, and and there's also, like, another type of Whisper that can, like, give your teammates a free Hyper Sprinkles. So I think what I would do is I would put that in good only if the player uses it, because it has all of those status elements, and you don't want them to do the Excitement Whisper, whatever it's called, on, like, your healer. The personality I would recommend for the Imp is it's a really squishy class, like it would take a lot of damage. So I think laid back would be the best one, especially for like unusually focused stuff. So if they do like the stronger version of Naughty Pitchfork and whatnot, it will definitely do more damage. So yeah, I think I'm confident in putting the Imp with good only if the player uses it. Alright, the next class is the Pop Star, and I haven't gotten much screen time with it because I didn't make anyone a class into it, but I have seen it before. It's great for letting people have an extra turn. It gets people it gets the enemy distracted, and it can also like cure arguments, which is honestly really good. But I don't think it's really a class you would take to end game though. So I'm just gonna put it in it's okay for now. The best personality I would give the Pop Star is I would probably give it Energetic, because although Energetic does have that one quirk where it will just attack one person and fall to the ground instead of the Pop Star attacking everybody, it would give them an extra chance to allow someone to have an extra turn. So I suppose it would also be fitting to put it in good only if the player uses it, so that way you can do that, but I think I'm just going to put it as it's okay because I don't see a lot of screen time with the Pop Star. Alright, the Scientist. I will say, alright, so the Scientist is probably one of the 3 best classes in the game, in my opinion. Yeah, the Scientist is such a good class. It has a huge amount of magic damage. It can also negate enemy debuffs, such as like turning them evil with the dipping their heart into darkness. Well, that's something that happens to your teammates, but they're able to negate that with like their mask ability. It's such a good class, and it's so satisfying as well. Also, the horse whispering looks so good. The best personality I would recommend with the Scientist is probably also Laid Back. And that's mainly because, and we'll get into it in a little bit, Laid Back probably gives some of the highest magic damage output in the entire game. Alright, so the tank, I'm going to put it in good only if the player uses it, because there's way too many inconsistencies with it. It takes hardly any physical damage. It has some of the highest attack in the game. It's the most squishy to magic damage besides the Imp. The Imp is just like extremely squishy in general. But also, I don't like how like they'll probably randomly just like shoot someone out of a cannon. And that's really not ideal, especially when you want to keep your friends' relationships up. It'll cause like some really large dampers in like it'll cause a lot of dampers in like friendships and stuff like that, which you kind of need to survive in this game. The best personality for the tank is Kind. Kind. I'll say that. Kind, because you are able to, like, if your teammates are low, there's a chance that they will defend for them. Even if it's magic damage, the tank also has the highest amount of HP in the game. So even if they can't take that much magic damage and are dirt slow, you're still able to protect your teammates. And the best part is if you did build your beginner character with speed, the tank won't go last. It'll probably go like second to last until like your other teammates catch up to your speed. So that's honestly really good, but if you're bringing in someone fresh with the tank, you're not gonna, like, they're gonna go last every single time. Alright, so the elf. Everybody says the elf is good. I mean, let's dissect the elf a little bit. So you have good magic damage. You can protect your teammates. You can shoot a bunch of arrows to deal a lot of magic damage, I'm pretty sure. And they can also do team healing. So, but that's the thing. I feel like it's an overrated class, honestly. I mean, I didn't really have that much screen time with it. I mean, I saw what elves could do with like helpers, and even the three elf sisters in Realm of the Fae, in the Realm of the Fae. So there's like there's defense increase, there's full team healing, there's distraction with dancing, and there's a lot. I'm just gonna put it in great. But it'll be the highest form of great. Now the class, the personality I would give the elf, I would probably give the elf Stubborn. I think I'm safe to say that, because bracing for impact will be good, so if they do put a barrier on themselves, they'll take almost no damage. They'll have the ability to do their skills again with, they'll be able to attack again to get a guaranteed dance if, like, they're not satisfied and they're, well, I mean, it is a guaranteed dance, so I could see why people would, think it's the best class with like Enchanted Arrow, but I mean, with them not being satisfied, they'll also do their arrow range skills more often. So yeah, I think Stubborn is the best class for this. Alright, so the Thief. The Thief is a good class. I mean, if you guys have watched my videos, which I'm sure you have, I mean, why else would you be here to see my own views on the tier list? I definitely think that I'm gonna put it in great. I'm gonna put it in great, but above the chef, because the thief has the highest spread damage in the game. They have traps, even though they are only for one turn. Phantom Strike looks awesome. They also have a Dragoon type skill from like other RPGs to where they jump up, and if they're the only person on the team, that makes them invulnerable. So if you were using it, it would probably be much better if you were just playing the Thief. But it's not just only good if you're using it. So I think I'm going to say that. I think it's the second best great class in the game. The personality I would give it is 100% Stubborn. Stubborn Thief is probably one of the greatest creations I have ever made in Miitopia with my brother. So with them not being satisfied with in doing more damage with Rock Rain and stuff like that, they can dish out some shockingly huge numbers even if they're attacking just a singular opponent. So yeah, Stubborn, put it in great tier, and let's move on. Alright, so the Mage. If you do it right, the Mage is probably one of the best classes in the game. And I'm saying that because they have huge magic attack stats. Sure, they are a little bit more on the flimsy side when it comes to physical damage, but usually with the teams that you're running with a Mage, you're probably just going to end up having someone to tank physical damage for them anyways. But yeah, if you build it right, the Mage is probably just as, if not more, destructive than the Scientist. The best, and I mean the best, I cannot stress it enough, the best personality to put with the Mage is Laid Back. 100%. It makes their damage that much more powerful, and even though at the cost of some relationship points, they will hide behind their teammates to prevent them from taking damage. It's the perfect personality for this class. I cannot stress that enough. Alright, so the Princess is, I'm gonna say it's another one of those it's okay classes. Like, it's very niche in my opinion. Like, sure, they have some ways to recover MP and distract opponents and even do the blindfold move that would allow you to prevent status ailments, but it just doesn't hit as well as the Scientist, which is also a magic damage dealer. So, like, to put it simply, I would say that the Scientist does everything the Princess does, just better, except for, like, MP. So, except for, like, MP recovery, but that, I think that's the best thing I could say. The best personality for the Princess, I would say, this one's hard because I have one of my characters as a laid-back princess, which I suppose is better for magic damage. You know, I'd say laid back as well. I think that's good. I think that's fair to say. I think that's definitely fair to say that, laid back is a decent personality trait for the princess. Alright, so the Cleric. I am going to put this in the great tier, but higher than the chef. Mainly because the Cleric has a sneaky high attack stat. Like, it's crazy considering what they can do with, like, aura for magic, or even just, like, whacking them with the rod. Like, and also their healing properties are literally second to none. Like, there's nothing you can say about it. The healing is second to none, especially since it's a class devoted to it. The best personality I would give the best one I would give a Cleric is probably Stubborn, because they can do a little bit more extra chip damage, even if it's not as much as others. but also because they'll brace for impact when they're about to take damage on occasion, and also, like, going again with extra attacks with not being satisfied for their strong, like, their skill aura, and then they also have a one-hit kill move, so that's fair. Alright, for the flower, the first and only class here to be in utter garbage, don't at me. Oh boy, it has the lowest attack stat. You can try to use it. I mean, it has a bunch of status effect things. Sure, it can heal, but there's just so many other classes that do its job better. It hardly, from what I can tell, it hardly does any damage at all. Its supporting role isn't really that good, and it's just an annoying class. Like, in my opinion, it's probably the worst class in the game. Like, what were they thinking? The best personality I would probably give this is probably laid back, just so that way they can get a little bit more extra damage, and also because considering how flimsy they are, considering that they're being an actual flower, they kind of need to hide behind people. So, utter garbage, flower, don't at me. Alright, so the cat. I am going to put this, as you guys saw with Kaylee the cat in Endgame, she was amazing. She has, I'm pretty sure, actually no, I'm certain the cat has the highest damage in the game. So I'm not gonna, so it's definitely not the best class, but it is a good class. High enough to where I will put it above the Thief. I just think it is probably one of the craziest damage in the game. Not necessarily overpowered damage, but it is definitely the highest damage in the game, period. The best personality I could possibly give the cat, in my opinion, is Stubborn. Again, because of that not satisfied, bracing for impact, craziness that you can do for even more damage, and it'll just make it one of the most destructive forces in the entire game. So again, really good class. Alright, so thinking about it, I'm looking back at the list now of what I'm saying is the best classes, and I'm, like, it would be biased if I put the warrior in the best class, because I thought it honestly was, but I'm thinking about it, but it's, in my opinion, it's only good if the player uses it, but it's the best out of the three. Because you're basically all around, and you're the only, well, not necessarily the only, but you are basically the glue that holds the team together if you choose this class. Like, and also it's probably the most popular class people start out as. I mean, you can choose out of the five, warrior, mage, cleric, thief, pop star, but I would say that this is probably the most leader-based class, hence always anime, any RPG, the knight has always been like the glue that held the team together. Because you can protect your teammates at will, you can snap people out of status ailments, and you can even revive them, even though it's not as to the extent of the cleric. But yeah, actually, never mind. I'm actually just going to move it up to great and the best of the great. That's, like, it's slightly more biased on that, but I think that's safe to say, because you can revive, you can snap people out of status elements, which is basically better than Princess because it happens at a really high chance as well. And above all, from what I can say, I think the best personality to give the warrior is kind. I believe that the knight is probably the greatest tank in the game because they can reduce their damage, and it's basically a free guard. Like, you can get a maximum of 3 types of guard procs as the warrior. You can either do it manually, you can either let the kindness set in and let that happen, or with high relationships. So there's a possibility of 3 ways you can guard with this class. I will say it's probably the best it's probably in this. I think this is a safe place to put it, or put it in good only if the player uses it. But this is just my opinion. All right, and the last class in the game, the Vampire. So the Vampire is like it's high magic. So it's not like, it's a good class. I wouldn't necessarily say it's good only if the player uses it, but I think I am going to... that's tough. This is probably one of the harder ones. I'm gonna put it in... You know what? We'll put it in great. We'll put it in great. And I would put it behind the Thief. Because they do relatively the same thing, just the Thief does his swipe, it's more damage. Tornado is only a single hitting move. If it was like a multi-hitting move, it'd probably be a lot better, like if it hit more people. Being able to revive yourself, revive others with Vampire Curse, and even just doing the curse in general to where you deal half damage regardless makes it probably the greatest grinding class in the game if you want to grind experience, but also good as a sense that it's probably like I'd definitely put it in the great class for that. The best personality I would put in it is, again, and shockingly enough, I'd make it a kind vampire, because you want them to tank as many hits as possible, just so that way they can get the curse off for free damage. And I think I can safely put it in great. I think there's a couple of these I could arrange differently, but I think I'm actually confident in the list I gave here. And that is my tier list and the personalities I would recommend for Miitopia. I will admit this was a slightly different tier list than what I thought it was going to be. I actually think this is kind of accurate. Sure, people would think that putting the elf in the top tier is more suited for it. I mean, I haven't seen a bunch of the elf class and any crazy stuff they can do. I'm just going off the base of my own preview, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and if you guys have been enjoying the Miitopia content, definitely make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. I've been Odyssey64, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.